Please welcome Carolina Quiroga-Stultz.
Well, hola, ¿cómo están? Hola. Can you say with me, hola amigos? Hola amigas. Hola amigas. Well, my name is Carolina. What's my name? Carolina. And yes, of course, I'm a storyteller, and that's what we're going to be doing today. But there's a very special ingredient for stories. Raise your hand if you think you know that special ingredient. You have no idea? First time it happens. I have one volunteer. Yes. Oh my God, yes, kiss your brain. You know how to kiss your brains, friends? You just put your hand like this. Go ahead. Go ahead. Yeah, you can do it. That's fine. The teacher tells you to do it. Good. Now kiss. Give it a good sounding kiss. Good. And then kiss your brain, because it is imagination. And let me ask you a question. I heard the other day that the imagination takes us everywhere. So I'm thinking that maybe the imagination is inside our feet, because our feet takes us everywhere. What do you think? No? All right, it's okay to disagree. That's fine. Now, hear me here. I heard the other day that imagination makes us laugh. So I'm thinking that maybe the imagination lives inside our bellies. What do you think? No. That's okay. That's fine to disagree. But hear me here. I heard the other day that the imagination, when it expresses itself, it comes out of your mouth. So I'm thinking that the imagination lives inside right there under your tongue. No? All right. If you think you know where the imagination lives, at the count of 3, you all are going to show me and say it aloud. 1, 2, 3. Your brains! Good job. Kiss those brains. Good. And since we're using that imagination, I want everybody to wiggle your fingers around your head. Wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. And repeat after me. Abracadabra. Patas de cabra. Let the imagination come. Let the imagination come. So we can have lots of fun. Ding, 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 ding. And since we're using that imagination, I want everybody to rub your hands, rub your hands, rub your hands, rub your hands, rub your hands. Tap. Rub your hands, rub your hands, rub your hands, rub your hands. Lick. Rub your hands, rub your hands, rub your hands. And scratch your head and do a funny face. Good. We're going to do that entire sequence again, but this time we're adding a buzz. Everybody ready? With me. Here we go. Buzz. Buzz. Oh, you just fell for the old trick, because I just cast a spell on all of you. And I just turn you all into flies. I can see you all wearing the big eyes of the flies. You all have 6 legs, 3 on each side, and you all have wings, and you all are buzzing. Now, of course, I can turn you back into your human shape, but only under 2 conditions. Number 1, you gotta participate. That means that every time I say the word flies, you all are going to do the entire sequence. Let's do a little rehearsal. Here we go. Ready? Flies! Bzz. Bzz. Good. Second condition, do not let me forget. At the end of this story, we have to do the entire sequence backwards. If you let me forget, you're gonna walk out of here looking like flies. And in this story, you're gonna learn what happens to the flies. And believe me, you don't want that. Now, the following story comes from Puerto Rico. For you guys, it'll be Puerto Rico. And in Puerto Rico, what language do you think they speak? Good job. Kiss your brains. Mwah. Spanish. And that is why in this story we'll be hearing some Spanish, but don't panic. I'm here to help you. Now, I heard that we might have some Spanish speakers here, so do you mind raising your hands? I have 1 there, 2, 3, good, 4. So my Spanish speakers, like 10, awesome. You guys will be translating aloud when you hear me speak in Spanish. Think you can do it? All right, The lives of the rest of this tent depends on you. Just saying. All right. The name of this story is Juan Bobo, or John the Silly, and the flies. Bzz, bzz. Juan Bobo was a very good boy. And one day his mother sent him to the nearest town to run an errand. He needed to bring back home a jar full of honey. Well, he got the jar of honey, but he forgot the lid. So on his way back home, carrying the jar of honey, Juan Bobo realizes that he had been followed by a cloud of flies. Bzz, bzz. Immediately, all those flying insects began to surround the jar of honey and dive in it. Juan Bobo tried to shoo them away, but the flies didn't listen. Then Juan Bobo warned them, "If you're gonna eat that honey, you better pay for it." But the flies I did it all wrong. That's okay. But the flies didn't listen. So Juan Bobo grew tired of that situation, and he decided to put the jar of honey on the side of the road, and he went back home. But when his mother saw him with his hands empty, Mom was not happy, and she asked in Spanish. Ready, my translators? Here we go. Juan Bobo, ¿qué pasó? What happened con la jarra de miel? With the jar of honey. Ah, mamita, I got the jar of honey, right? But, Mom, you won't believe this. When I was coming back home carrying the jar of honey, Mom, I was followed by hundreds. No. Was bigger than hundreds. Thousands, yes, it was kind of like thousands, but no. Was bigger than thousands. Millions, yes, it was millions of flies. Bzz. And I tried to shoo them away, then I warned them, but they didn't listen. So I put the jar of honey on the side of the road, and I came back home. Juan Bobo, ¿qué quieres decir? What do you mean, or what are you trying to say? Que pusiste la jarra de miel, that you put the jar of honey, en el lado del camino, on the side of the road. Ah, sí, mamita, yes. But no worries, one day they will pay for it. No, Juan Bobo, not one day, today. Te regresas, you go back, y me traes la jarra de miel, bring back the jar of honey, o el dinero, or get the money back. Well, Juan Bobo did as he was told, and he went back to the side of the road to either get the honey or the money. And he found the jar of honey, but it was still covered with all those flying insects. Again, Juan Bobo tried to shoo them away, but the flies didn't listen. Then he warned them, "My mom is very upset, and she wants the honey or the money back." But the flies didn't listen. So Juan Bobo again grew tired of that situation, but this time he decided to take this very serious matter, this problem, to the law. So he went to the courthouse in town and he presented his case to the judge. He told the story. Now, let me ask you, do you know what the judge do? Yeah? What do they do? Huh? They judge, but what do they judge? They say what's right and what's wrong, right? And when someone did something wrong, what happens? They get a punishment, and it could be just to pay some money, do some community service, or go to jail. And if they're innocent, what happens? They walk free, right? Well, Juan Bobo told his story to the judge, who listened patiently and attentively, just like this. No. Really? Unbelievable. Well, Juan Bobo, unfortunately, you won't be able to get your money back, but you certainly can punish those shameful insects. You can slap them. Everybody with me. You can smack them and even give them a good kick. Well, Juan Bobo memorized what he had to do. What was it? Slap, smack, and kick. Well, he went back home, and next Sunday, Juan Bobo is with his mother attending church. They are in the middle of the Mass, and in that moment when the entire congregation is raising their souls to the Lord, Juan Bobo couldn't help but to notice, to see, to observe that on the priests, also known as the pastors or preachers, bald head was standing, bzzz, a shameful fly, bzzz, bzzz. And Juan Bobo remembered what the judge told him to do. What was it? Well, right there in front of the entire congregation, Juan Bobo went down the aisle. He went up the 3 steps of the atrium, and when everybody was watching, Juan Bobo, smack him, kick that shameful fly. Bzzz, bzzz. Well, you better believe that the shameful insect bzzz, dropped dead on the floor. And guess who else? Boom, made it to the floor. Who? The priest, also known as preacher, pastor, yeah, from the blow on the head. Well, he got a big chichon right there. You know what a chichon is? A big bump on the head. Now, it took him about 5 minutes to wake up and remember what had happened. He was able to remember his name, how old he was, and eventually he was just fine. As for Juan Bobo, unfortunately, since nobody could understand why he did what he did, well, he got punished. But thankfully, the law has something called an appeal or a hearing. That is when you get in trouble with your parents, right? Or your teachers, and after they scold you for a good while, they finally ask you, okay, tell me what happened, right? So the judge asked Juan Bobo, Juan Bobo, why did you do what you did? And what do you think Juan Bobo answered? You told me, yes. It didn't take longer than 3 seconds to the judge to reconsider the entire verdict because he understood that he as an adult had given a very bad advice to a child. Juan Bobo was forgiven and sent back home, but before he was about to leave the courthouse, the judge said to Juan Bobo, Juan Bobo, son, look, hold on, look. You certainly can try to punish those shameful insects. Maybe you can slap them. Perhaps you can smack them. And if you're lucky, attempt to give them a kick. But do not do it if the fly bzzz, bzzz, is standing on somebody's. Good job, my flies. Give yourselves a good round of applause. Good job. All right, so we should move on to the next story, right? No? Why not? Yes, oh, goodness. Oh, I have 2 kids right here that just said what they needed to say. They reminded me that we need to break the spell. So my friends, stand up. Where are you? Right there, my friend over there. We gotta give them a good round of applause because they just saved your lives. You were about to walk out of here looking like flies, and we just learned what happens to the flies, right? Well, okay, so my friends, what do we have to do? Backwards, all right. What was the last action of the sequence? Bzz. What's next? Bzz. What's next? What's next? Bzz. What's next? And, okay, everybody at the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. Bzz. Bzz. How do I say this? It kind of worked, but not really. For instance, you still have both eyes that look like a fly, You still have the wings. You still have all 6 legs. You all look mismatched. You know what happened? Someone didn't do it. Everyone, we all have to do it, including those who consider themselves adults. So at the count of 3, we all are gonna do it. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Buzz. Buzz. Yeah, for the most part, you all look human to me. Now, if you experience any glitches throughout the day, like bzz, stuff like that, keep working the sequence until it stops. Good job, guys. Thank you so much. All right. So, looks like I still have 10 minutes, right? Good. So I was thinking maybe, perhaps, we can do a spooky story. I love spooky. I know. Now, you let me know at the end of the story if you can sleep tonight. All right? And I'll tell you what could work for you. The following story comes from La República Dominicana. For you guys, it'll be the Dominican Republic, which is a country island in the Caribbean. And what language do you think they speak? Spanish, yes. That is why in this story you'll be hearing some Spanish, but again, no worries, I'm here to translate for you. Now, the only thing that you need to know about the Dominican Republic is its capital. Anybody knows? Raise your hand if you think you know the capital of the Dominican Republic. Yes, ma'am. Good girl, kiss your brain. There we go. It is Santo Domingo. That's all you need to know. The name of this story is Pedrito and the Laughing Skull. Long time ago, the streets of Santo Domingo were at peace until one day, something very unusual happened right there, where the Santo Domingo convent and the church meet. In the highest part of a 7 feet tall wall, there was an empty niche, an empty hole on the wall that disappeared the moment the bricks fell off. Now, the niche had not always been empty. Inside of it, a skull had rested. Some said that it belonged to a man that changed love for a bad plan. During the day, the sun ray lights touched the head bones, making it look like a ghostly headstone. And at night, a lantern hanging above the niche lit up the skull every day at 6. Below the skull, there was an inscription that sounded more like a superstition. Traveler passing by, fix your eyes on me. What you are, I was once. What I am, you will be. Well, nothing happened for a long time until one night. A man who excelled in the art of stealing got a fright that changed his feelings. As the thief walks under the niche, he heard an unsettling squeaking pitch. The man stopped and looked back. A frightening skull smiled back. Then the skull began to nod up and down, as if saying, I'll see you around. Oh, a cold chill went down the man's spine. He knew he was out of line. He tried to walk away, but curiosity made him stop and look back again. This time the skull was nodding side to side, side to side, as if saying, that bag, it's mine. The thief dropped the bag of coins he had stolen that same day, fleeing and swearing to embrace better ways. Oh, believe me, after that, rumors spread all across town about a frightening skull that was laughing at them all. Those with remorse found a different course. Not even the innocent dared to approach it, afraid their wives will reproach it. Oh, many swore that the skull could see through their souls, sometimes nodding up and down, as if saying, I'll see you around. Other times nodding side to side, side to side, as if saying, I won't let it slide. Oh, believe me, those who came close ran astray like most. But Pedrito, he was only, let's see, I don't see a young person right here. Okay. Let's see, my friend over there. How old are you? He was only 13 years old, yes. And although he knew about the skull, he couldn't care at all. The truth is that many thought that Pedrito was a fool, and pranking him would make them look cool. So one day a police sergeant decided to play a prank on the boy. Pedrito, si te atreves a enfrentar la calavera, te daré una pelota que vuela. If you dare to face the skull, I will give you a bouncing ball. The mission, as the sergeant called it, stated that Pedrito had to face the skull for a minute without crying, flinching, or blinking. Well, the very next day, Pedrito got himself a ladder, and he waited until nightfall to solve that matter. At midnight, Pedrito had walked towards the street where the Santo Domingo convent and the church meet, closely followed by the sergeant and a very scared soldier whose last name was Remales. Too bad. Both men placed the ladder against the wall, while Pedrito began to climb up, afraid to fall. ¡Pedrito! Que no te dé miedo, si no le doy la pelota a Alfredo. If you're afraid, boy, I will throw the bouncing ball away. Pedrito took a deep breath, and he climbed up until the last step. Oh, Pedrito got the goosebumps. The skull was staring at him from 2 empty halls. ¡Pedrito! Estoy contando el minuto. Ahora, si te atreves a tocar la calavera, te daré un juguete de madera. I'm counting the minute, boy. Now, if you dare to touch the skull, I might throw another toy. Be brave, boy, and you will have it all. Pedrito stretched out his arms. But the skull jumped out of his hands, and a mouse flew in the air, quite scared. In the confusion, the skull landed in the sergeant's hands, while the flying mouse dove into the soldier's pants. Both men were screaming, "Ayuda, ayuda, help, help!" They were running around in circles. It was a circus. Oh, in the commotion, the sergeant fled the scene, swearing to never play a prank that could backfire at him. As for the soldier, who still had a mouse in his pants, well, he began to do a tap dance. In the meantime, Pedrito went down the ladder, not really understanding what the whole fuss was about. I mean, all this time, a mouse had made the skull his house. Duh, these adults, always acting like nuts. But one thing Pedrito was sure about. Next day, he was going to have a new bouncing ball and a new toy to play. What an easy bargain he had made just by being brave. And that, my friends, is the very end. Muchas gracias. Adiós, adiós.
Carolina Quiroga-Stultz. Awesome.